This video brought to you by our Patreons. Please consider supporting this channel and joining our Patreons at patreon.com/NovaWing24.
Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. And here we are on Sunday the 13th of June 2021 for another action-packed episode and a happy Queen's birthday weekend to everybody in the Commonwealth and most of all to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Now, let's jump into it with a release for the Simulator of the Hour, Microsoft Flight Simulator from DC Designs, with the release of their latest aircraft, their highly detailed rendition of the PT-17 Stearman. So this is their first non-jet aircraft that DC Designs has actually produced, and they've done just looking at the images, they've done a pretty damn good job of it. That is for sure. So this is a fully native aircraft designed from the ground up to go only into Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's not a port over, not a conversion or anything like that. It is purely designed just to go into this sim. As such, it is fully compliant with all MSFS native materials, modeling, and SDK as it stands as well, with custom recorded high-definition sounds from a real-life Stearman as well by the Sim Acoustics team. You've got a variety of optional crew configurations, with including either the modern GA Asobo occupants or a World War II era student and instructor pilot models as well. So, nice little touch of both including the default sim models as well as an option to do an alternative one, though I'm pretty sure I'm going to be happy with just doing the default sim ones. Also designed to be fully compliant with VR support as well, and a highly detailed both external and internal 3D model, including a variety of custom cockpit materials and modeling, making full use of PBR materials throughout both the interior and exterior as well. 6 different liveries are included with 2 different sort of aircraft types, both a sort of a vintage era and a modern design, a modern variation of the aircraft included as well. So this is a highly detailed aircraft, looks absolutely amazing. The Stearman is one of my absolute favorite aircraft to actually fly, and that goes back to Microsoft Flight days for me. I love the GAS one for Prepared and FSX, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this one here. And you can pick this one up for $15 or your original equivalent, available now from Just Flights. Continuing on with MSFS releases, but moving into scenery from developer Vertical Sims. So this week, their latest not GA, but regional airport release this week, with a release on Fayetteville Regional Airport in the United States in North Carolina. So this is a highly detailed rendition of the airport as it appears during 2021, so up to date as it possibly can be, including all airport buildings accurately modelled, a full airport layout as it currently appears, as I said, in 2021, full high-resolution PBR textures used throughout the airport as well, with full custom jetways, custom animated ground traffic vehicles, and as well as a color-graded satellite imagery for the airport and surrounding areas as well. Also includes proper airport materials and laid out, including up-to-date happy light positioning, AI taxi pathing, and taxiway pathing included as well. And you can pick this one up for $13 or your original equivalent, available now from Vertical Sims. Continuing on with airport releases from this time from developer AnyBuilds. So this week, the release of their latest MSF scenery with their release of Alderney Airport and Island. So this is a highly detailed rendition of the Alderley Island, including its airport as well. So this includes custom terrain mesh for the area for the whole island, including custom ortho imagery as well. Includes custom buildings for VFR landmarks, including a variety, several forts, and hundreds of custom hand-placed individual objects around the island as well. Custom terrain meshes included for not only the whole island, but also for the runway configuration, including a custom ground slope as well. Includes full 4K PBR texturing for the airport area by any scene as well. And you can pick this one up for $15 or your original equivalent, available now from AnyBuilds. And rounding out the Microsoft Flight Simulator releases this week, saw from seasoned developer Rex Simulations. So this week, their latest release of their real global airport textures. Now, this is interesting. So this is essentially, in many ways, a bit of a rehash of what they've done previously for their World Airports release for FSX and Prepared, where essentially what it does is it gives you a variety of additional textures for your texture library to to replace the runway, taxiway, road textures throughout your entire simulator. So it's an interesting sort of take on it. Essentially, what it does is the idea is essentially the fact that the sim itself uses a generic set of textures that it uses for taxiways, for ramps, for parking, all that kind of stuff. And essentially, what this Rex product does is it allows you to actually overwrite the default sim texture library with ones that are more accurate or sort of more clearly defined. And it gives you a variety of options there, including 28 different types of runway surfaces, embellishments including cracks, dirt, bump mapping, crack filler, and grooves for the different types of runways and taxiways that you experience throughout the world. Up-to-date, enhanced surface bit mapping, bituminous surfaces, a variety of different airport markings and colors options available to suit different parts of the world, and of course supports full PBR support for this product as well. So it's one of those things where it's a really interesting hack where it essentially allows you to give it. And I remember the tagline that they used for their previously releases was they call it basically giving the payware treatment to non-payware airports, and it kind of does do that. It was one of my favorite add-ons for the legacy sims, and I must admit that I'm mixed about this because, as I said, in the past it's been a great way to enhance default airports without having to buy a replacement for every airport around the world. And for many times, this is maybe what you might be after. So definitely check this one out. As I said, it looking pretty amazing for me. Includes a variety of custom things, including things like rubber buildup on the airport, because when you actually land on airports, you actually see sort of where all the tire, the legacy of tire smoke gets left behind on runways. And that is not really modeled in the default textures, but it is modeled with this one as well. You have different texture runway markings. They're not pristine all the time. They're cracked and worn, and that's things like that as well. And as I said, includes full support for PBR materials. So even though you're using this aftermarket textures on your runways and your taxiways, you'll still get the PBR effect that you get with that as well, and including full support for weather features, including snow, ice, and sleet, as the sim includes as well. So looks pretty damn amazing, looks pretty damn awesome. I think it's going to be worth the $18. Your mileage may vary, but definitely have a look for it. Check out the images and see if it might be something that you might be interested in. Available now from Rex Simulations directly. Moving out of MSFS and moving into the world of Prepared for a minute, Lockheed Martin, the developer of Prepared, came out with their latest update for Prepared, for V5 this week, with releasing 5.2. Very unexpected. Definitely went under the radar. None of us really caught wind that it was coming, and it has emerged very quickly with essentially a overall long list of bug fixes, a couple of new features there. Not really going to affect a lot of. The new features per se are probably not so much here for the end user, but they will be a lot of interest to developers. And really, a lot of the new features are more geared towards the professional learner education market by supporting the new Vajo headsets. Other than that, also supports dynamic particle lighting, supports terrain awareness, post-processing effects, and a couple of new camera configs and other SDK improvements as well. In terms of bug fixes, though, the list is a lot longer. Most of the lists around the bug fixes, though, revolved around their enhanced atmospherics, basically their True Sky implementation. The big one that they're claiming now is it apparently now claims that the halo that was always present around a sim object is now apparently gone when using earlier in the enhanced atmospherics. I'll be interested to check it out. I am actually looking at the list of these bug fixes. I am actually tempted to put Prepared V5 back into my system and check it out now. Updated some AI logic, a couple other things as well. Opened up another couple of variables for developers and for recordings to have a look at. But again, a lot of this stuff is going to be the big one for end users at the moment is going to be the changes to enhanced atmospherics. So if you're wanting to do this one, the recommendation is a full uninstall reinstall as per the Lockheed Martin's recommended instructions. If you don't do it and things go pear-shaped, you probably have yourself to blame. Again, please be aware that not all products that support Prepared V5 will be compatible with 5.2 out of the gate. If your product does not work, if your preferred aircraft or scenery that you want to fly with or into is not working after you update to Prepared V5.2, please go back to the manufacturer of your add-on and ask them when they will be releasing an update. Some are already in final testing of their updates. I think a couple of devs have actually already released patches as well, so they are coming. Just be aware, if yours is not working, hold off. There's it available now from Lockheed Martin. Continuing on with prepared releases, though, and I think are not supporting 5.2, I believe, at the moment, funnily enough, is Airport from Aerosoft, is Region de Murica Airport for prepared V4 and V5. So this is a highly detailed rendition of the airport and its surrounding area as it appears in 2020. All airport buildings have been portrayed, including based off current airport layouts. Airport layouts 2020. Full support for PBR effects, both on airport buildings and terrain features as well. So current main terminal is modelled with the interior as for the car rental area and other external areas as well, with static vehicles, cars, and people around as well. Full support and compatibility with Orbix, Land Class Global, and LC Europe, in that for as being part of Spain. And you can pick this one up from $20 or your original equivalent, available now from Aerosoft. Moving out of the ESP world, moving into the world of X-Plane. This week I saw releases from another release, this time from Aerosoft, of their rendition of Istanbul Airport. So this is a detailed representation of Istanbul Airport as it appears at the end of 2020, including all up-to-date airport buildings, custom 3D taxiway signs, animated jetways, visual guidance docking system, and marshaller courtesy of the SAM plugin, full HDR night lighting support as well, variety of custom aesthetic aircrafts, as well as seasonal texture adaptations, as well as full compatibility with Ortho for XP as well. And you can pick this one up from Aerosoft for $30 or your original equivalent, available now from Aerosoft. With another continuing on with airport releases, this time from Boundless. I saw this week their release of Tside Airport for X-Plane 11. So this is an accurate rendition of the airport as it appears in 2020, with all airport buildings model, full custom night lighting, and custom 4K PBR texturing used throughout the entire airport. Includes, as well as the airport and the airport buildings, also includes the nearby business park and a set of animated trains along the nearby railway as well. Custom airport ground traffic vehicles and HD road traffic for the surrounding area, along with HD trees and a variety, and custom runway gradient has been enabled for this airport as well. And you pick this one up for $19 or your original equivalent, available now from Boundless. Continuing on with X-Plane 11 scenery releases, this time from developer Thai Models. So this week their release of Fukuoka International Airport in Japan. So this is the main airport on the island of Kyushu and the fourth busiest airport in Japan. This is a detailed rendition of the airport as it appears in 2020, including full support for SAM animations for the jetways, high-definition PBR textures for use on a variety of ground objects, static aircraft, and buildings as well, and full support for autogen around the airport. This one's coming in at $21 or your original equivalent, available now from xplane.org. Then rounding out the X-Plane releases this week from France VFR, saw two releases in their Tree Factory series, Southwest and Southeast. So this is a interesting add-on. Essentially, it's a scenery, as it was not a scenery add-on. It's a tree add-on. It's a bit weird. So essentially, what it does is it takes I don't believe it actually even has tree models. I believe all it really is a simply updated vector data to show where trees and hedgerows and thickets are throughout France and French territory. And it simply overlays that on top. It's designed to be used in conjunction with photoreal scenery. So you have your photoreal scenery, which is bare bones and doesn't really have anything on top of it. And then you have various add-ons out there. I know some that we've covered here on the NovaWrap before, add-on buildings for photoreal scenery. This now adds on the trees and the foliage and the sort of greenery on top of photoreal scenery. So this ability, or it can also be used with the standard default X-Plane 11 scenery as well. So you get the standard scenery, which includes most significant vegetation zones, which includes most of the things, the various different tree types across all terrain types. And then there's this additional sort of Xed scenery, which includes small hedges and thickets. Now, for each of these regions of France, it looks like there is going to be 5 in total eventually, because we've got 2 at the moment. So Southwest and Southeast, each of these are coming in for $10 or original equivalent, available now from explain.org or France VFR. Moving out of the X-Plane 11 world and moving into flight simulation of a very different kind this week, saw another ATC simulator come into the world, called ATC Infinite. Now, this is, I will use simulation fairly loosely on this one, because this is more of a score attack challenge kind of title rather than simulation, but it does have some simulation elements under the hood of it. So this essentially is a challenge. As I said, it's a challenge score game where places you in one of any of about 10 airports around the world, including LAX, Heathrow, Tokyo's Haneda, Schiphol, Frankfurt, and a few others. And it challenges you to be able to control the airspace, land and take off a variety of aircraft, all without having them crash into each other. What's interesting about this one is that it does use it, instead of using it as a click screen or an interface like that, it is all command line interface. So you can usually type of sort of the aircraft call sign, and then a command whether you want to turn left, turn right to a heading, or whether you want to go to proceed direct to a waypoint, go into the approach, or whatever stuff like that. So it's an interesting take on the genre. It's not expensive. There are others out there that you might get more mileage from. There's already been 3 patches to it within a couple of days of release, but so the developers are definitely very active on it, which is good to see, and we'll see where it goes from there. So is it a full simulation game? Probably not. Bit of a score attack, more accurately, but it could be something to while away the time if you're looking for something else. Otherwise, if you want to pick this one up, you can pick this one up for $5 or original equivalent, available now on Steam. Moving out of flight simulation and moving into the permanent way this week for the world of Train Simulator. So this week of the release of the Southern Pacific U-33C locomotive. So this was a locomotive designed during the 1960s and of the late 1960s and 1970s eras U-boat diesel locomotives. And this particular model would be produced in 1968 through to the mid-1970s, and number over 370 by the time production came to an end. So this highly detailed rendition of this South Pacific General Electric 6-axle 3,300 horsepower locomotive includes multiple windshield and control stand versions in different liveries with full realistic operating controls, detailed features and sounds recorded from a real train, including 5 types of rolling stock cars, as well as caboose and in different liveries as well. Also includes 4 career scenarios for the Train Simulator Donner Pass Southern Pacific route as well, which you would need if you want to be able to take use of those, but otherwise fully compatible with workshop scenarios. And you can pick this one up for $20 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. In the other train simulator product at the moment, Train Sim World 2 saw this week the release of their latest line route, or route add-on, with the Cathcart line in Glasgow Newton to Neilston route add-on. So this gives 20 miles of track between Glasgow Central to Newton and Neilston via the Cathcart Circle. Also includes a British Rail Class 314 EMU in Scottish Rail Saltia liveries. Includes a highly detailed feature-rich driving cab with accurate true-to-life performance and handling, along with a custom terrain with a variety of points of interest, all custom modelled and created for the train scenery as well. It includes an extensive 24-hour timetable, as well as accessible training modules and 5 detailed scenarios for your train simulation pleasure. And you can pick this one up for $30 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Moving from the permanent way and moving on to the road, with Eurotruck Simulator coming out with their latest official sort of truck release in partnership with DAF, with their release of the XG and XG Plus trucks for the simulator. Now, this is really interesting because this is in their description. This is literally DAF advertising, is what this is, to be honest, because these are new trucks that they are just starting to release into the real world now, and essentially this this is free advertising for them. Like straight up, this is free advertising for them. But this gives you a highly detailed rendition of the latest two trucks in the DAF line, the DA, the XG and the XG Plus, which represent a new generation of trucks, including a lot of scientific methods, so a lot of science and sort of engineering improvements to the efficiency of the truck, including the aerodynamic shape to make it more efficient, more fuel efficient while driving throughout on this long haul routes. Also includes optional digital mirrors replacing conventional side mirrors, so you can actually sort of use cameras instead of that, which is really kind of weird and really kind of cool. And it's just really interesting seeing like so much like what we used to call science fiction now coming like into the world of science fact. Like this is really, really cool. So each of these initially come in, as I said, with the XG and XG Plus, with the 4x2 cab chassis option. The XF has been guaranteed to come as part of this pack at a later date, but for now, just in the current configurations that are available to real-world purchasers. And they're coming in with the launch paint job for these trucks in Tuscan yellow launch color. And this is available free for the Eurotruck Simulator community, available now on Steam. And finally, rounding out the simulation release news for the week from developer Playway and Red Dot Games. So this week, the release of Car Mechanic Simulator VR. Now, I'll be honest, I'm surprised it's actually taken this long for us to get a mechanic game, like one of the car mechanic or one of the insert vehicle mechanic simulator games to actually come to VR. Because really, when you think about it, these sims are fundamentally like they are made for VR from the ground up. They fundamentally are. Like you're actually supposed to be working on car parts and fixing cars and testing stuff. So it really makes complete sense that you would actually have VR for this. Now, this is designed to be used with either seated or standing, with tracked motion controllers. So you actually do sort of, bring up, you actually grab tools, utilize the tools actively in VR, in the VR space, which is so weird, but also really, really cool. And for me, this is really interesting. It gives a bit, and in some ways, I think it almost gives an insight into the future of training as well. Being able to actually sort of, you actually have to turn your hand in VR to crank and actually sort of, take a bolt out. That is just. It's so cool. You actually can do this and get a workout. Like, this is really cool. Like, I'm really liking this, and I'm actually stupidly excited about this. Again, I'm finding there are more and more reasons that I have to seriously start thinking about investing in VR. But anyway, so essentially, as I said, top level though, this is basically just Car Mechanic Simulator 2018, except optimized for VR, bottom line. But this could be interesting. If you've got VR, I think you should probably think about checking this one out. So this one's available for $20 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. And with that, folks, that does round out the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter and on Twitch. Just search NovaWing24. All right, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.